Using a chainsaw can make easy work of big jobs when done correctly. Following proper operating procedures ensures everyone on the job site is safe. In fact, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA, has regulations in place regarding safe chainsaw use. First, it's important to use the right chainsaw for the job. Just like the famous fairy tale, you don't want it to be too big or too small. You want it to be just right. Small chainsaws generally have a bar size of 8 to 12 inches and are good for small branches and trees 6 to 10 inches in diameter. With a bar size of 14 to 20 inches, medium chainsaws are ideal for log cutting and small trees 12 to 18 inches in diameter. Finally, large chainsaws have a bar size of more than 20 inches and are reserved for big, professional use jobs. Now that you've picked the right chainsaw, it's time to get started. Before starting the chainsaw, check the controls, chain tension, bolts, and handles to make sure they're functioning correctly to the manufacturer's instructions. This includes checking that the chain is sharp and the oil tank is full. Routine maintenance should be performed on the chainsaw, including cleaning and adjusting chain tension, tightening hardware, inspecting the fuel system, chain brake mechanism, and kickback guard before every use. The air filter should be cleaned or replaced after every 10 hours of use, as well as lubricating the sprocket tip, tuning the guide bar, and inspecting and cleaning the spark plug and spark arrestor screen. The fuel filter should be replaced after every 20 hours of use. If any parts are broken or not functioning correctly, don't use the chainsaw until they can be fixed or replaced. Also, check the fuel container to make sure it's made of metal or plastic, doesn't exceed a 5-gallon capacity, and is approved by the Department of Transportation or other nationally recognized testing laboratory. When fueling the chainsaw, make sure you're at least 10 feet away from any source of ignition on bare ground, ensure the chainsaw is fully powered down and cooled off, and use a funnel or flexible hose to pour in the fuel. Once it's fueled up, move to an area at least 10 feet away from the fueling area to start the chainsaw. The chain brake should be engaged and the chainsaw should be on the ground or another firmly supported surface. As cool as it may look, using one hand to push the chainsaw away from the body while using the other hand to pull the starter cord cable, otherwise known as drop starting, is extremely dangerous and isn't allowed under any circumstances. Now you're ready to start using the chainsaw. Begin by clearing away any dirt, debris, small tree limbs, and rocks from the work area and plan a clear retreat path. Be especially aware of any nails, spikes, or any other metal that might be in the path of the chainsaw. Keep your hands firmly on the handles of the saw and stay balanced during use. Never cut overhead and be alert when cutting to avoid trunk or tree limbs under tension that may spring out when cut. When operating the chainsaw, stay aware of your surroundings, knowing where to cut items like trees and limbs will fall to avoid injury. It's also important to understand your skill level and only perform chainsaw-related tasks you're comfortable with. Accidents are more likely to happen when you try to do something like work on a slope, use a chainsaw from a ladder, or work on a tree with root rot. If these jobs are above your skill level, find someone else to do them. Take breaks as needed to reduce fatigue and risk of accident or injury. When the job is done, proper handling and storing of the chainsaw is important. Always shut off the saw or engage the chain brake before carrying it from one location to another. Make sure to carry the chainsaw at your side with the cutting bar and chain to the rear and outside, keeping the hot muffler away from your body. When the chainsaw isn't in use, it should be kept in a carrying case or with a chain guard on the bar. If the chainsaw needs to be moved to a location that involves driving, it should never be placed in the passenger area of the vehicle and needs to be secured in place with the fuel cap facing up. Finally, to store the chainsaw for an extended period of time, drain any remaining fuel into an approved container in a well-ventilated area, move at least 10 feet from the fuel transfer area, and run the engine until it stops to burn off any excess fuel in the lines or carburetor. Remove the chain and store it in a container of oil to prevent rusting. Proper use and maintenance of chainsaws is important because, as with any power tool, there are hazards associated with them, and misuse or poor upkeep can increase those risks.